My name is Alika Gamble. As you guys know, I'm from Waimea. For those of you guys on Zoom, if you guys didn't know that, I am from Waimea. Born and raised here. Today, I identify myself as an alcoholic and a drug addict. But when I got involved in toasted meetings. So when I go to speak or I'm at a meeting, I say that I'm a sober alcoholic and drug addict. I'll kind of explain, because believe it or not doing drugs, not drinking alcohol, that's just the smallest part of the blessing, believe it or not. But I'll talk more about that later. So I was born and raised here. I was born in Kona. I was raised in Waimea. And I had a really good childhood. A lot of love, a lot of support, a lot of structure. I don't have the excuse that, oh, bro, my dad wasn't there, my mom left us. I have no reason why. I have no excuse of why, oh yeah, I turned to drugs and alcohol. I know why I did, but like that's not one excuse. So growing up in Waimea, I had a lot of my cousins, my older cousins I looked up to. They lived with us even for years too at a time. And my brother went to Kamehameha from 7th grade, so he was on Oahu, so he'd only come back for summer, so I wasn't always around him. So I looked toward my older cousins that I wanted to be like. I idolized them, I really admired them. I really loved, they could get all the girls, they always beating people up. I was like, I like to be like that. I want to do that. They're all extroverts, so I have a huge problem. Naturally, I'm introverted. Even to this day. I know I'm up here speaking, but it's been years of practice doing these things like this. But naturally, I'm an introvert. So, when I was 13 years old, that's the first time I got drunk, right down at the Kahilo Theater at somebody's graduation party. And so I got introduced to alcohol. And everybody here know, drinking alcohol in Hawaii is really nothing wrong with it. It's like drinking water, It's not really frowned upon necessarily. To me, it's just part of the culture. Wherever you go, you can see people, food and beer, food and beer, food and beer, But, the thing about that is some of us, we cross over to that line when we can't stop drinking now. So I got introduced to drugs at 15 years old. Now, drugs and alcohol did for me what I could not do for myself, literally, because I'm introverted. I wanted to be like all my older cousins. I would make my hair like them. I would try to dress like them. I try to act like them. I try to do things they do. I go surf with them all the time. I did everything with them because I wanted to be them. Because I was uncomfortable in my own skin. Oh, that was the first lie I bought from then. Because I thought I needed to be a certain way. I needed to have this certain thing about me. Like all the guys like fear me and all the girls love me. Kind of straight up way of thinking back then. I started doing that, and it just progressed. Something I believe, I totally believe this, that addiction, it's spiritual warfare. It's whether people know it or not, that's what's really going on, honestly. But addiction, I believe addiction to be a disease, an illness that affects us like no other human sickness can. You guys ever hear of anybody with diabetes getting divorced because of it, or stealing money because they get cancer, or staying up for days because they got some sort of something wrong, some other disease with them? No, that one is debatable. Some people say it's a choice. I don't get into that. It's a whole other thing though. But me personally, I'm gonna just talk about myself. I never chose to become a drug addict and alcohol. I never chose that. I never woke up one day and said, okay, I'm gonna just drink all day and then that's it. No, I was doing it because I wanted to have fun. I wasn't uncomfortable in my own skin. Drugs and alcohol, the reason why I started doing it because of the effect it produced for me. That's exactly why. It wasn't because I never had love, because my mom left and my dad wasn't around or nothing like that. It was just the effect that it produced for me. That's it. That's all it is. Nothing about it. It made me feel how I think I should feel, how I wanted to feel. Because, my first taste of being introverted, my first taste of alcohol, to this day, my whole drinking and using career, I never, ever, ever enjoyed the taste of alcohol, ever. I always know how I would feel though because of it, so I would drink it. That's why. And not just me, I know a lot of people in Hawaii, they do this, but me, I could never eat and drink at the same time. I never could. I'm either drinking or I'm eating, that's it. A lot of people, they can eat when they drink in Hawaii, I don't like the taste of it, so I'm not gonna eat and drink. Plus, I got a full stomach, nothing gonna happen, But I quickly moved to hard liquor, real quick. We went to, beers, and then hard liquor, and then, once at one certain point, you don't see, you don't like nobody think, oh, bro, it's 12 o'clock, you're drinking vodka already. So I'll be drinking IPAs, because it's the strongest amount of alcohol, in that beer. Growing up, I went to Honokaa. About, I would say, by the way, my dad don't even know this. He's about to find this out today. So, actually, my wife might know this. So, at my graduation, I graduated from Honokaa. I was actually blackout drunk at my graduation. Yeah, I was. I mean, I still get all the pictures that, my mom so sincere with looking through the pictures. I see all the pictures, so, I can remember some stuff. Like, I barely remember walking down the aisle. I don't remember getting my diploma. I remember taking some pictures with people outside. And then they had a little party for me at my Auntie Lay's house over in the Hawaiian Homes. And my friend called me. I think he called me, I forget. But anyways, I ended up seeing him. I should jump in the truck and I was gone. So a party was going on for me, but I left the party already. I was out, and I was 17 when I graduated. I turned 18 that year though. But my birthday's in September. So, again, this disease of addiction it's a progressive disease. Over any considerable period of time, we never get better. We only get worse. So I never started like drinking and using like Saturday, Sunday, and then I took 4 months off. I never did that. It was Saturday, Sunday, then it turned into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then, that's how it is. I never started doing, buying 8 balls and then I go back to buying half grams. Or drinking. I would drink 1 whole bottle of vodka to myself, and I would start like that, and then I started buying the handles, But this is later on, not right away. It was later on when I was like maybe in my 20s. So, as I got older, this disease of addiction started to get its grip on me. The enemy, he likes to infiltrate our minds, especially as young children. Me and my dad, we're reading this book right now by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. In that book, Napoleon Hill, it's a fictitious interview he's doing with the devil, how the devil is explaining how he takes control of us. It's amazing, But if you guys want to go read that book, it's a really good book. So he had my thinking at a very young age. So as the years go on, I started to develop this certain way of thinking and these certain behaviors. I didn't know this about myself. I found this out about myself when I got into recovery. But looking back, I can oh yeah. So in trying to chase the next drug, the next drink, I started to think a certain way, behave a certain way. So what I mean by that is I started to become very selfish, very self-centered, very self-seeking, self-reliant. Everything revolved around me. Where I'm gonna eat, where we're gonna serve, what movie we're gonna watch, what party we're going to, anything. And anything, it just had to be my way. If not, I get all crazy. Because I was such a control freak. If I wasn't in control, I was out of control. That's just how I live my life. And hey, nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem. I didn't think I did. No, I'm sorry. I was positive. I didn't. I was positive. See, I believe that lie. That's another one I believe. There's so many of them that I believe. So, let me fast forward the tape a little bit. So, I've had so many, because I'm gonna try to do my best to explain to you guys what I was like, what happened to me, and what I'm like today. I'm gonna try. There's a lot. I can be here till tomorrow telling you guys my story. So I gotta try to kind of condense it down. But there's been many days and nights I'm drunk and high over here in Waimea, doing dope up Mud Lane, or the Waimea Lodge, at the park over here, all over by Buster Brown. I can come back here and I can see these things, and it's just different. I've been clean and sober 4 years now, but I understand that my experience, all my pain can benefit somebody else. I know that. That's exactly why I'm here, So, let's see. There's so many things, a lot of jobs I lost here. I didn't want to work. I wanted everything handed to me. I didn't want to earn nothing. I just had this entitlement mentality. Just, my parents, you brought me to the world, so you know, should take care of me forever. You know, look, so and so, he's 50, he live with his parents. You know what I mean, stuff like that. kind of thing. But honestly, I don't want to get that confused with the culture in Hawaii. That is the culture in Hawaii. I know that is. But that's not what was going on with me. That's not what it was. Because, you know, I was very selfish, self-seeking, self-centered. Everything was about me. I could not hang on to a woman to save my life. I literally could not. I mean, I went from one girl to the next girl, to the next girl, to the next girl. And this is the truth. Every one of them, it was her fault. And I could tell you why. And I could justify it. It never occurred to me at all that I could be the problem. Never. Never, ever, ever, ever. You know, every woman before my wife, all of them said, I do not. You know, and looking back today, oh man, I can totally see why. It makes so much sense to me. So, okay, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. You know, I did a lot of stuff here. I moved to Oahu. I think this was in 2012, I believe, something like that. 2012. So, by the time, actually, I'm gonna kind of reverse a little bit. When I was 19, right around 19, 20 years old, at that age, that's when I crossed the line into full-blown alcoholic and drug addict. So what I mean by that is, see, when I was on this side of the line, I had a substance abuse problem. When I crossed that line, I went right into the disease of addiction. It's not really the same thing, so I'll explain that though. So once I crossed this line over here, once I started drinking, once I started using, I could not stop. I literally could not. You know, it's funny how people would just say, oh bro, why didn't you just stop? You know, some people say, you know what, willpower. You know what I come to find out? It has nothing to do with willpower. All it has to do is if I'm ready, if I'm willing. That's it. You know, because for me, nobody made me drink and use drugs, and nobody made me recover. I became willing to do both. You see? So, okay, I'm on Oahu now. I'm living on Oahu with my parents still. Was living in Kapolei, and in 2012, I was already like, I knew, okay, bro, you're still kind of getting out of control already. I was in my 20s, mid to late 20s, and I got this job as a valet in Waikiki. So I'm like, okay, bro, you gotta kind of take it easy. You gotta kind of, you gotta give your body one rest. Because I pushed my body to the limit. You know, cocaine was my drug of choice. It is very difficult to stay up for days on cocaine. If you're smoking ice, smoking meth, no problem. That you stay up for days, no problem. Cocaine is a lot harder. Plus, you're drinking hard liquor. But that, I'll just push my physical body and my mind just to the limit. My spirit is just crying, it's just sick. But I didn't care. Oh, I forgot to mention something. Sorry, I'll back up. Now, I was 15 years old when I started doing drugs. And when I was 15 years old, I also accepted Jesus into my life. Looking back, it's amazing how, I went from the red jersey to the blue jersey. Now, all of a sudden, everything coming my way. I didn't know though. I didn't know I was under attack. I was just, yes. Oh, I like this. I like have sex with this girl. I like do this drug. I did every drug really, but cocaine was my drug of choice. But it's amazing how I just started to progress rapidly now. I have a huge target on my back now, because I switched teams. So I'm on Oahu now, working at the valet in Waikiki. So I get there, I started working, started doing good. I was still drinking, but I was like, okay, but you're still doing good. At least you're not doing cocaine anymore. You're just drinking now. But again, the same way of thinking stuck with me, regardless if I was doing cocaine. So I meet one of the bellmen there. I just started working there, not too long, maybe like, I don't know, a couple weeks or so. And then, we stay in our little back room, away from all the guests. They don't get to see us. We go over there. Everybody go talk about all the guests meeting, whatever, whatever. So one of the bellmen, he show up, in his pouch. People still wear those things, man. Those pouches, those fanny packs. Still to today. But he had one of these. Big guy. He was a big guy from Hawaii guy. So he go, oh, bro, what, at least party? I go, yeah, I go out once in a while. And he go, no, bro, here, look, you got like 1/2 ounce with him. I thought he was kidding. And he said, hey, smell him. So I smell him, like, oh, bro, you're not joking. So I met him, and then I just progressed even worse. In 2012, I did cocaine and drank alcohol every single day. Every single day. Whether it was like 2 lines, you know, 1 drink, whatever it was. I mean, my body was just taking a beating. And, you know, I didn't care because for me, every time I'll try to fight back against that, the thought of, you know, drinking and using. Once I crossed over that line, once that thought came, I could not shake it. I mean, hey, everything, I tried everything, Bible scriptures, doing this, all kinds of stuff. You know, nothing was working. Nothing was working because I wasn't working. I didn't know that then. So once the thought came, boom, okay, I couldn't shake it. And I had to go get it. And then once I got it, once I put it in, this is the best way I can explain it. When I started drinking or using drugs, the best way I can explain why I couldn't stop is because it's like this allergic reaction. It's this phenomenon of craving that sets off in me that doesn't go off in the normal tempered drinker. You know what I mean? Like my sister, she can drink half 1 beer and she's done. I'm like, bro, that's alcohol abuse. You gotta drink the whole thing. You know? You know, and so anyway, so I meet this guy. And I come to find out he was supplying the whole hotel with cocaine. I just didn't know until he told me something. And you know, he would always he would go, I was about 8 bucks from him, and then he'd go, oh, what do I have? He always struck me on that one. Because he knew I had money. We paid cash every day, you know, tips. And so, you know, it was just boom, and like, was just crazy. My body, I mean, like my mind was so, I mean, broken, like unreal kind. And I forget, like so many different times, I was just, you know, partying for 1, 2 days, and then, okay, I gotta go work. I worked the 3 to 11 shift. And so I called off, I don't know, like 10 times already. You know, all kind of amazing lies I would tell. And I was thinking, okay, now what am I gonna do? I mean, I used, this family member died, my son got into a car accident, I gotta go back to the Big Island, all kind of crazy stuff. So I'm thinking, bro, what am I gonna do now? So, you know, 3 o'clock was approaching, it was about 12, and I'm in Waikiki still. I should go drive down in, I forget, some parking garage, and thinking, okay, what am I gonna do? Because I cannot go to work like this. Because prior to this, I went to work, I was partying for almost like a day and a half. I was up using drugs and drinking. And for some reason, I just showed up to work. And like, I'm straight tweaking out. Like, I'm not even making sense. I cannot stop moving. I'm going, I mean, I don't know. As I think about it now, I'm thinking, I wonder why they never sent me home. They all knew I was on drugs. You know, it was like $100,000 cars I was driving. I'm not gonna crash one of these cars, you know? And you know, and I like my whole shift, like I'm literally in the little thing, I'm literally, I look at this, and everybody's laughing at me. But see, the thing about cocaine, what it does, it just suppresses emotions. When you do it for so long, in the beginning, oh, it was good fun. It was fun, it was real fun. But after so many years, once you take it, like, I cannot laugh, I cannot smile, I cannot get mad. I'm emotionless, literally. I cannot talk. I literally cannot talk already. So, you know, I see all this stuff going on, and I'm thinking, you know, I can't just wait to get all this over because I get the rest of the 8 ball in my car, you know? And then so, you know, everybody knew I was on drugs. My boss, everybody knew. And they knew he was supplying everybody with drugs. But they always, you know, my boss was an ex-drug dealer that they used to do. It wasn't a whole big thing, but anyway, so 3 o'clock was approaching this next time. I gotta go to work. So I'm thinking, okay, I got embarrassed the last time, so I cannot show up to work this time, you know, all messed up again. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm in this parking garage in Waikiki somewhere, and I'm thinking, man, what can I do? What lie can I tell them now? So I was like, oh, I was like, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. What I ended up doing was punching myself as hard as I can, as long as I can, as fast as I could, until my eye was swollen. I took a picture, I sent it to my boss, and so I told my boss, oh bro, I got to argue with my dad, and he'll knock me out. So look, I can't go to work. See, I get proof now, See, I get proof, look, I cannot show up to work like this. Yeah, it was amazing. And the funny thing is about this disease, even in a sober state of mind, I still kept lying, I still kept cheating. I still kept manipulating. I still was selfish. You separate me from drugs and alcohol. It doesn't matter. Drugs and alcohol was just a symptom of the problem. Something I found out. That's why I said that's the smallest part of the blessing. But something I found out is that that's a symptom of my problem. I am the real problem. And honestly, that was so hard to accept. That was a hard one to accept. Because anybody in this room like to just enjoy admitting complete defeat. Anybody? No? Yeah, I know. Nobody does. Nobody does. It's not fun. Nobody does that. But for me, battling back and forth in my mind for years, I was constantly in an oblivious state of mind where two opposite emotions coexisted in me at the same time. I want to drink and use, but I don't want to drink and use now. It was just a constant battle. For years, 20 years exactly it lasted. Exactly 20 years it lasted for me. And then again, get into this relationship. I spent so much money. See, like I would even go on dates. And I remember one night I spent $700. That money could have went to paying my car. This is another thing. So I didn't pay any of my bills, It's amazing. I had money to pay for them. I just chose not to. Yeah, I just did it. I just did it. Because in my mind, somebody else can do it for me. You know what I mean? That's my way of thinking. That's well, maybe God's grace can cover me now. You know what I mean? Because I was already a Christian. I went to with Paula. I started with Paula with the youth group. Then we started going to church. I opened this church. So the Word of God was in me. It was in me. But the plan that God had for my life was not up to God. It was up to me. You see, a lot of people talk about, Jeremiah 29:11, that God has a plan. I believe that, but we kind of tend to forget, though. The other guy got a plan too for us, and it's not up to God which plan we're going to walk in. See, God allowed me to run in my own self-will for 20 years. He never made me do nothing. He never bent my arm. I never felt condemned by him. I felt condemned by the devil. I felt a lot of conviction from the Holy Spirit. And I'm not kidding, after every time, no more drugs, no more alcohol, and I finally end up falling asleep, passing out, waking up whole, the regret, the remorse, the shame, the guilt, man, it was so heavy. I contemplated suicide plenty times. Plenty times I thought, I get so much dope, I don't know what to do. My mind is so gone with it. The enemy has total control of my mind. All kind of crazy thoughts. Just hang yourself, get into a car accident, do all this dope. Brian, your dad is gonna kill you. I literally had that thought. Your dad will literally kill you if you find that you're doing drugs. I had all kind of crazy thoughts. So I was like, okay, well, I have so much dope, this probably should take me out. I remember I was at the White Collar Greens. And nothing happened. I was like, I did everything. Like the most amount of, it was like almost 1/2 ounce I did all by myself, But God had a plan for me, I know that today. It's amazing. I should be handicapped. All the drugs, all the chemicals that pump my body with, all the alcohol, but God had a plan for me, and I'm walking out the plan that God has for me in my life today. So, fast forward the tape a little bit more, because my story is very lengthy. I'm living in California now. What happened was my mom had a kidney transplant. My dad sold the business. My mom got my mom was our administrator. She was the back end of the business. Me and my dad, it's like a bucket with a hole in it. We're putting all the business in, but with my mom not there, everything's going right out the bucket. So my dad decided to sell it. So again, now we're going, and so I remember I was in Waikiki. I literally just did 2 lines of cocaine, and my mom called me. Oh, Mom! I answered the phone, and she's crying on the phone now. I'm thinking, oh, you got the kidney, Mom. I'm all high now. Oh, Mom, you got the kidney. And she's crying. She said, yeah, you gotta take us to the airport. I said, okay. So I went down. They was living in Ever Beach. I picked them up in Ever Beach and took them to the airport. And so I came up here, probably was like a few days later. Not up here. I came to California, up in San Francisco, where she got her new kidney. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not going back. I'm not going back to Hawaii. There's no ties, no more business already. My dad sold it, no more nothing. I'm not going. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. And this is the reason why. I come here today. Oh man, why did I leave this place? But back then, this is why. I could only see all the drug dealers I owe money to, or all the places I humiliated myself, all the women I just used for sex, and it's left, and that was it. All the people I hurt, all the damage I did. That's all I could see. Hawaii, like everybody's trying to get into it. I was trying to get the heck out of Hawaii, So my mom get her kidney, and I end up staying with my sister. She lives in Rancho Cucamonga, in California. So she said, oh yeah, my sister been living up there for like 20 years. And my brother, as soon as he graduated high school, he went to college out there too. So they wasn't around me to see my behavior. And this is another thing, my drug addiction, I kept it a secret from my immediate family. They never knew about it, they never knew. I got caught a couple times when I was young. They maybe thought I just went face, but no, I didn't, I never stopped. I just got better at hiding it. That's all I did. So my sister agrees to let me stay with her, and I can find a job, I can make some money, I can get my life, going in the right direction. And again, my behavior, my thinking is still exactly the same. So, wherever I go, there I am. I'm in California now, but nothing changed about me. So my sister, she's so nice, man. She let me use her car wherever I wanted to go. Oh, yeah, go here, go there. Okay, you can go look for jobs. Oh yeah, and sometimes I did, but then one of my friends I grew up with, he went to school over here. He's the only black kid who knew how to surf, actually. But originally, he's from California, from Victorville. And I seen him on Facebook. I was like, oh, bro, where you live? And I live up Victorville. That's right up the road from where my sister lived, about maybe 40 minutes away. So I got in touch with him. I told my sister if I could borrow her car. I forget where I told her I was gonna go. But I ended up going up there. I met him up at a bar. We talk story. Not even talk story. The first thing I would ask him is, he know anybody get dope? That's the first question I asked him. Not the guy, oh, bro, nice to see you. How you doing? How you been? Never see you in a long time. That was the first thing I asked him. And he said, oh yeah, I do. So I started getting them from him now. And there was one time where I ran out of money already. No money, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I actually had a brand new iPhone. I think it was when the iPhone 8 first came out. It was brand new. I had them for like days. And I'm at my sister's house. She's at work. Nobody's there. And then the thought comes, like, I have no nothing. And keep in mind, I have memorized so much Bible scriptures at this point in my life already. I have them memorized. I speak them. I prayed. I have a relationship with God already. I did. Okay, I want to say it before I forget. So I got sober in a 12-step program. I respect how the program works, because without it, I wouldn't be here today. So a lot of people, the fact that I'm a Christian, I don't keep it a secret. I'm not one closet Christian, kind of thing. People in recovery that know me, they know I'm a Christian. I'm not shy about that. If I go and speaking somewhere, if I'm doing a podcast, I make it known. I really do. So people that I know that I'm still friends with, they do not believe in God. See, when I talk about God, I'm talking about God the Father. I have a relationship with God today through His Son that He sent. He never sent His Son into the world to condemn the world, but that through Him it might be saved. So a lot of other people, they don't believe in that, and that's okay. I cannot, Joyce Meyer, she said, what she said? She said, you cannot argue somebody into the kingdom of God, and I know that. You cannot argue somebody into recovery either, the same thing. So, but typically this question would come to me from somebody that has absolutely no relationship with God. See, God can be anything this way today, So they ask me, they know I'm a Christian, they go, oh, so, well, if you're a Christian, how did you become addicted to drugs and alcohol then? It's like we exempt or something, like we're not human beings, I was thinking, oh, okay, so every time anybody has ever, I was getting asked that question. I made a video and posted about it a few years ago, so everybody I can answer it once. So every time somebody asked me that question, I always went right back behind Romans 12:2, where it says that, God instructs us. He has instructed me to renew my mind. Do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, which I did, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's exactly why I became addicted to drugs and alcohol. I failed to renew my mind. That's it, period, That's exactly why God instructs us to do that. But since I got sober, I have been doing that. That's why I still have the life I have today. So anyways, now, I'm still in California. I'm at my sister's. I start going back and forth to Victorville, picking up, 8 balls. Hold on, drugs is way more cheap up there too. Everything is more expensive in Hawaii, So there's this one year, I think it was 2016, up on the freeway, where it's the 15 freeway, it's called. It was such a bad storm and heavy rain. I didn't know this. I'm over here partying, doing drugs, but while I'm there, the freeway, it broke. So I was supposed to be home from work. I told my sister I was going to work. I was supposed to be home from work at 8 o'clock. Come to find out, get choked traffic. I got home at 2 in the morning. So she was trying to call me. See, I wasn't answering my phone because I didn't have it. When I was at her house, the thought came, I'm thinking, how am I buying this door? Oh, brand new iPhone. I sold it. The thing was worth $1,000. I sold it for like $300. I was like, yeah, but here, just take it. Yeah, just give me money. I gotta go. And I don't know California very, very well at this time, but I've gone up to buy drugs so much times. I know what to look for, what signs to go, because I would use my GPS for everything. So of course, I get to my sister's house at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she's still up, and she's upset, and she's asking me what was going on. And again, keep in mind, like I said, once I do so much drugs, I cannot talk, no more emotion, cannot laugh, cannot smile, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to make up lies, and was just lie on top of lie on top of lie on top of lie on top of lie. When the truth finally came out, she didn't even believe me, and it was like 2 days later, I actually told the truth. For the first time in my life, I told the truth. But she didn't believe me. So there's a little motel right next to my sister's house. And so I checked in there. That's the last place that I did dope. So the next morning though, she comes. I was thinking, how did she know where I was? She ended up at the door, in the hotel room. And she's there. I look through the hole, it's her and my brother. My brother lives about an hour and a half away from us. So it's her and my brother. I'm like, oh, okay. So I open the door, we end up talking a little bit, we go back to my sister's house. And then again, the truth came out again, See, I kept this a secret for so long. I kept it tucked away over here in the dark, so nobody can see it. I mean, there's a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, remorse, all this stuff. I don't want, nobody to know about this stuff. I don't want it. But it's funny how my deep dark secret, once it came out into the light, it gave me this sense of ease and comfort I felt. And it was the same ease and comfort I got from drugs and alcohol. It was the same thing. Just like if you guys notice, in any building or room, in your kitchen, your bedroom, whenever you go in there and it's dark, and you turn on the light switch, you guys ever notice that the darkness doesn't fight with the light to stay dark? It is instantly, boom, it's gone. The Bible says, confess your sins one to another so that you may be healed, But then, trust me, there's so much power in that. But, but also we confess our sins to God so that we can be forgiven. See, man cannot forgive you. God can forgive you, So the truth came out, and, it was a big cry fest. My sister wasn't crying here. She was just pissed off at me. My brother's crying over here, because she didn't believe, she didn't know what to believe, and I didn't blame her. She did. I told her all kinds of lies. Oh, I got mom, sis. I was with this girl. Oh, take me to the house. I was got caught in my lies. I thank God for that though, because without that, I wouldn't be here right now. I don't know where I would be. And then so I try to get into treatment. The next day, I'm trying to figure out. Okay, I'm trying to look up treatment centers where I can go. I don't want insurance. Okay, I'll apply for the free one, the IHP over there, cover California, and I was trying to get to treatment centers. So I was calling all kind of places for beds. You gotta see if it's available. So I was calling. Nothing was happening, and I decided to go to look up 12-step meetings. So I found one not too far from my sister's house. So I go to my first meeting. I identify myself as a newcomer, and I walk through the door. I know everything. You can't teach me nothing. I knew everything, right? Even though I was broken, I was desperate and dying. I didn't know it, but what I really wanted to do was get down to causes and conditions of why I do what I do. Because I would think to myself, oh, why you keep doing this? Why you keep saying, okay, you're not gonna go out this week and you go out? Why you keep saying you're only gonna drink 2 drinks and then you drink it for 2 days? Why do you keep doing this stuff? And honestly, those thoughts was very short-lived in my mind. It was. That's not something I'll think about constantly. Because I believe, like I said, addiction to be a disease. And this is just my thing. It's like, I think of this disease of addiction had a defense against me getting to it and finding everything about it. See, I think like the first wall of defense, I would say, is pride. And that one I never got through. that one. See, I made a decision, actively drinking and using, I was gonna die from it, or I was gonna die with it. That's it. Because every time the thought came, and I tried to fight back, it just run me over like a Mack truck. Like, I had no defense whatsoever, nothing at all. So, you know, I kind of get into treatment. I go to my first meeting, identify as a newcomer. This big black guy, he beelines it to me right after the meeting. He's very loud, and he's a really nice guy. I'm still friends with him to today. And he shook my hand. He bought me my book that I still got today. And then he goes, here, call this guy. I said, okay. Like, I don't know nothing. So I'm like, okay, I'll call him. And then that guy ended up being my sponsor 4 days later. And he's still my sponsor. And I started getting into the work in recovery. The first step is, it says we admitted. We admitted different programs say different things. We admitted we're powerless over cocaine, over drugs, over alcohol. Well, at that, our lives had become unmanageable. Like nobody had to convince me of that one. I was ready. See, at that point in my life, I was ready. I was beaten up so bad that I'm ready for a change. I'm ready to do something that I was unwilling to do 2 years ago, God restored my sanity, turning my life over to Him, first, 1, 2, 3 steps, all this stuff. See, I already had a relationship with Jesus already. So that part was easy. I know people that struggle with the God thing in 12-step programs. Well, I had no problem with it at all, There's no, in the first, second, and third step, there's nothing working, not really happening yet. When you get to the fourth step though, then the work starts to happen. So the fourth step says that we need a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. If anybody's familiar, I know Uncle Range guys know, but anybody else who's familiar with the 12 steps, if you actually go check it, go read them, and think to yourself, wait, nothing, the first step only is the only one. Every other step has nothing to do with drugs and alcohol at all. Nothing at all. See, so that, when I started reading them on the wall, at these meetings, I'm all over the place. I'm thinking, wow, this don't really have nothing to do with drugs and alcohol, except the first one. And then I start to suspect at this time, oh no, I might be the problem. Yeah. And then sure enough, I found out. So that fourth step, there's different inventories that I went through. It was a resentment inventory, nothing to do with drugs and alcohol, a fear inventory, and a sex inventory as well. So I had so much resentments. It was unbelievable. I had pages of them. And it was no problem. Once I sat down to write everything, I had no problem doing that. Because everybody did me wrong. I was a victim. I had that victim mentality. But see, the thing is what the resentment was, who it is. I'm mad at so-and-so. Okay, why? Because he slept with my girlfriend or whatever, Could be anything. And then what part of what part did it affect? See, if you look at just all of that on paper, it looks very justifiable. If you show somebody, bro, I understand why you get resentment. But then get the part at the very end that says, what was your part in it? So whether it's 1% or 99%, in all my resentments, I had a part to play in it. It's amazing. Even if I wasn't involved in it, even if it was two people arguing over there, and I'm going, this guy, look at this girl, she's acting crazy over there, and stuff like that. That has nothing to do with me. However, I had a part to play in that. So I get through that, all those inventories. After I got through my fourth step, I stopped cutting myself and blaming the knife already. For the first time in my life, I was able to take responsibility for where I was. Prior to that, it was everybody else's fault. And I could tell you why. And it was very justifiable. I could blame everybody for everything that went wrong in my life. Like anything. I lost my job, I can blame somebody else for it, no problem. I stubbed my toe, it's my dad's fault. Whatever, anything. It was amazing. And then, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I kind of skipping through. The 9th step is making amends. So a lot of my amends I made already back in California. The majority of my amends actually though is here back in Hawaii. And you know, that fourth step was so freeing, and so much freedom. I was relieved from the freedom of the bondage of self and down. And then the next freedom I felt was I became free of people and what people think about me. That kept me stuck for so long because I cared too much. See, it's crazy. I didn't care what people thought about me. I cared about what I thought they thought about me. That's even more screwed up way of thinking, you know? So I remember making my parents came up to California. I was right on my ninth step, this a couple years ago. And I was able to make my amends to my mom and my dad, you know, for everything. It's so much freedom. But see, like, you can't have a lot of pride and make amends to somebody. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Or you can't even get to the first step, actually, you know. So, you know, and then step 12, I'm gonna talk about that. Step 12 basically is carrying this message. It's what I'm doing right now. It's the 12th step. And I love doing it. So in the middle of the pandemic, I'm winding down right now. In the middle of the pandemic last year, I was thinking, look, everything is shut. California was shut down. Like, everything is shut down. You can't even leave your house. So, you know, 12-step meetings, everything is shut down. And then eventually started showing up on Zoom. You can go on Zoom. And, you know, I was already sponsoring other guys at this point and everything. I completed my steps already. I was 10, 11, 12. Something my sponsor told me for people who's in recovery, this is what he taught me. So I'm like, okay. He said, look, 10, 11, 12 will prevent a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because there's people that work the steps multiple times, and I was like, what? That's cool. Like, okay. But my sponsor told me, see, but if I fail to 10, 11, 12, then I'm gonna have to go back and, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. So in the middle of the pandemic, I was thinking, look, how can I still reach people? Because I love to help people. I even acted in my addiction. I did, but I just could not. I couldn't. I thought about myself too much. You know, but my heart. See, if you guys know somebody that's sick, suffering, this is a good thing to help you to show compassion, love, tolerance to them. Like drug addicts and alcoholics, we're not bad people trying to get good. We're sick people trying to get well. That's what it is. This is sick. I was sick for years, you know. And then, like I said, if you guys know my mom's service, she never condemned me. She never did ever. Oh, like my dad was. I was like, oh, I gotta dance some punches with my dad, you know. But not my mom, you know. So, anyways, I started one page on Instagram called Pro Recovery Power, and I was like, okay, it's geared toward recovery. You know, a lot of people on social media. I mean, gyms are shut down, parks are shut down, movie theaters, restaurants, everything was shut down. But the one thing that never gonna shut down was social media. I was like, okay. So I started Pro Recovery Power on Instagram. And I started just posting, you know, some inspirational stuff and this and that. And then I had the idea, oh wait, I should start going live. So I started going live with other people in recovery, other people that's sober, people, you know, alcoholics, drug addicts, all that kind of stuff. I started going, so I would reach out to people, and everybody agreed. I never had one person turn me down yet. They said, oh yeah. So, you know, I go live. I started going live for other people to tell their story because it inspires hope. I didn't care personally. I don't care how somebody got sober. It doesn't matter, because for me, the bottom line is about saving lives. It's not about comparing which fellowship is better than which one. No, I don't care. See, because, well, no, that's a whole other thing, never mind. But anyway, so I started that Pro Recovery Power. And I started thinking, okay, boom, I made a YouTube page, a Pro Recovery Power YouTube page. And then, you know, it started, you know, getting more, and then I started thinking, I did an interview in Pasadena with who's my good friend now, his name is Johnny. I did an interview there. So in this shop that they do the interview at, had another guy named Nick that owns it, and he owns his own, and they're all sober, everybody's sober. All my friends are sober today. He owns a recovery clothing line called Team 12. So I met Johnny, like God opened one door, and he opened, like, okay, doors started opening for me. And then I started making recovery clothing as well. Then boom, I have a website now. I got the website going, you know, and you know, because my vision is to reach the masses. Like God put this dream in my heart to reach the masses who suffer from drug and alcohol addiction, to, you know, help them find their way out of the dark into the light, recover from their addiction. You know, I believe being an example of recovery is the best and most effective way to show other people that it's possible. Not to tell them that it is, to show them that it is. You know, and Me and my wife right now, we are in the middle of turning Pro Recovery Power into a nonprofit organization. Because for me to reach the masses, nonprofit status will help me do that, to achieve that. It really will. Plus, I live in California. I live like 40 minutes away from LA. I mean, bro, I get plenty of people sick and suffering over there. But honestly, I've been back in Hawaii, I'm a big on it for a week. And I see so much people over here, man. People we used to party with, they're still doing the same thing. People telling me, bro, you're so-and-so, this and that. Bro, he got on this, he got on that. They went jail, they're getting divorced. Like, I see family members, friends. I'm like, man, my heart goes out to these people over here, man, Like, we might have to move to the Big Island later. Yeah, but no, there's a lot of people. There's never going to be shortages of like counselors or people in recovery. See, because I became a counselor, I went to school, I went on, got my degree. But honestly, my biggest weapon that I have, I learned so much stuff in school. My biggest weapon that I have is my own experience. If I had to pick and choose the degree or my own experience, 10 out of 10 times, gonna be my own experience. Because me and people like me, we are the ultimate weapon in the fight against addiction. We have an education, no amount of money to pay for it. Our own experiences, So, God has brought me and kept me alive all these years because He had a plan. The Bible says that, those that God foreknew, He also predestined. That almost sounds contradictory, but it's not. He had a plan. I talked about it at my mom's service as well. And today, I can finally say I'm literally walking out the plan that God had for me. In the middle, I was just got down to my third step. I met my wife. The third step is turning my life and my will over to the care of Him. See, being a huge control freak, letting go and letting God take control was tough. Wasn't easy. It was hard. But it's amazing how I prayed for a wife. As soon as I go, okay, God, I finally, sincerely think, okay, God, you can drive now. Bam, I met my wife. I'm talking about in a matter of days. Wasn't like I had to wait 2 years, And she became my girlfriend. And everybody went towards the program, too early for you to get a girlfriend. I was like, oh, whatever, I don't know, it happened. Like I prayed for it, whatever. She ended up being my wife. And then, we had a baby, we get my son now. And, addiction, I learned this in school and I learned this, in church. Addiction, it's actually in our DNA. They find, not DNA, DNA I guess you could say. It's in our body. Like the scientific side, the science is saying that. And there's proof of it. The grandfather's alcoholic, the dad, it goes down the line. The Bible also talks about that, the iniquities of the father. Jesus was whipped for our iniquities and He was bruised for our transgressions, the Bible says. Do you know what a bruise is actually? A bruise is just bleeding on the inside. That's all it is. He bled on the outside and He bled on the inside for me. And for everybody really. So, with Pro Recovery Power now, I'm just so passionate about it. Not just this, in recovery in general. I can do this forever. My wife knows. I can do this all day. See, the Pro Recovery Power, the clothing line, our website, the live shows, these are all tools to get me in front of the person that's sick and suffering. I thrive. I love the one-on-ones with people that are sick and suffering, or like even in a group setting. I run groups too, group settings as well. I literally can do that all day, but my wife won't let me. Yeah, and I know why. I know. See, because my wife, she's very, very good at keeping me balanced. See, I'm just like one horse ready to go out the gate. Open the gate, boom, I'm gone. My wife was like, whoa, take it easy. You just gotta point me in the right direction. Boom, I'm gone. See, I'm the doer, she's the thinker. But I'm really grateful to be here. I'll be here for a while too afterwards. If you guys got any questions, you guys want to ask me anything, or if you guys have any questions right now, because I'm actually going to bring my wife up to say a few words as well. So, are you ready? Okay, here she comes. Here she comes.
Alrighty, hi you guys. So I just wanted to come up here and just share a little bit about kind of my experience as a family member of a recovering alcoholic. I truly believe, like as my husband mentioned, it's a progressive disease. We've all seen it maybe in our own experiences and someone else, a loved one's experience. I also truly believe that addiction is a family disease. It truly affects those that surround us and generations thereafter. I can actually say that in my own experience, I actually unfortunately lost my father to drugs and alcohol. He didn't find his way out of it, and eventually it took him out. And truly, little did I was 10 years old when I lost him, and I didn't realize the effect it had on me. But as I grew older, I realized the impact emotionally and just like what it does to you even mentally. I see the effect it had on my siblings, but specifically I think when your father's an alcoholic, it affects everybody, but if you're a boy, I see the effect it had on my brothers as well. And also on my mother. It physically just like it impacted her mentally, and little did she know that she also impacted her children. So again, it's a curse that just kind of continues generations. That's what, like as my husband mentioned, it's biblical and it's scientifically proven. We actually need to nip it in the bud, because there is healing as right there, and if you stop it there, all your children and your generations will benefit from it as well. But I personally feel as a wife of a recovering addict, like the way I came about, and I had the privilege of attending support groups. When I was dating my husband, a friend of mine approached me and told me, hey, I recommend you go to a support group. Because and I'm like, why would I go to support group? I'm not the one with the problem. Like I fought against it a little bit. Like I didn't really understand it. And also I think education, information goes such a long way, because a lot of people out there do believe, like, well, why don't you stop? You know, it should, I mean, for the rest of us who are so-called, quote unquote, normal people, we can put the drink down. I don't know why you can't, you know, like, it's easy to judge or criticize or not sympathize or have compassion. That's why I truly believe education, information, it goes such a long way, because it changes your perspective. It helps you have more compassion. So, and I'm so grateful again, you know, I praise the Lord for having orchestrated that for me, for, you know, introducing me to this friend who invited me to a support group meeting. So I attended, and here I am. I went, I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And sure enough, like, I'm so grateful, because I've learned so much. One, it taught me that indeed addiction is a disease. It's something, it literally takes over your mind and your mental state of mind, that you, even if you want to stop, you can't. So it teaches you to have more compassion. And another thing is just, the Bible talks about doing life with other people. Just being in connection with other people who are going through the same thing, other family members, whether it be spouses, it could be, you know, maybe your parents were alcoholics, or you have children, because there are all kinds of people. So that just was a beautiful thing, to get connected with other people who are going through the same thing. So I'm an advocate for that. Like, little did I know the impact, again, like before I met my husband, and again, God had a plan, and I think He orchestrated everything, because the thing, now I'm able to connect the dots. Okay, like I had little did I know that the addiction that my father, you know, eventually took out my father, affected my mother. And then my mother, and then it also affected us, you know, and here I am all, you know, I was 30 by the time, you know, I met my husband. So, and finally, little did I know that I needed healing too. So I just kind of want to encourage you, anybody out there who's a family member, we're affected too in one way or another, and we need healing too. So I encourage you guys, you know, to get connected with support groups, get connected with people who are going through the same thing. You know, talk about it. Like, the more we talk about it, the more we heal. I truly believe every time you share a little bit about your story, you heal a little bit, and you're helping someone else heal as well. It's just bringing things to light. So I'm a huge advocate. That's why I want an opportunity to come up here and just share a little bit about my experience, about getting connected, getting, you know, the support, educating yourself, getting the information you need so you can help your family member who's in recovery. Or even if they're still, you know, struggling out there, active in their disease, continue to pray for them. Like, truly, there's so much power in prayer. Don't give up on them. Keep connected to people who are going through the same thing. So with that, I just wanted to share a little bit about that, and encourage you guys, you know, if you're in that position, just talk to someone, reach out for help. There's no shame in it, because the more we talk about it, the more we heal. But that's all I have. Thank you.